We're going to be exploring the tension between patient versus passion.
Like, I had the government telling me, don't do this, like, this is a stupid idea. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go. Passion focused, going big or going home.
I think there was wisdom within your choices and your decisions, and you decided to go before the war. I think that the timing didn't necessarily work in your favor, but you have a story that none of us can take away from you. I think I'm a lot more patient than I used to be. And he talks about emotion. I don't get caught up in other people's emotion. Now I want to look at the facts.
Yeah. If you really want something and you can visualize in your head the steps you need to take to get there, then you'll do it and you'll accomplish it.
But I know that it's through action, through the perseverance, through those steps, those learnings, that the how will appear.
Catalina, Henry, welcome to Kirbylicious Podcast.
Thank
you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you so much for agreeing and to saying yes to this conversation today. Now, to start, I would like to invite you to introduce yourself. For our viewers and listeners at home, I'd like you to tell who you are, what chapter of your life you're currently right now, and anything you'd like to share. Let's start with you, Catalina.
Yes. So I am a coach. I work with clients on clarity and confidence around their money, helping people to move from financial stress and overwhelm a place of financial security.
Oh, that's a great answer. Let me look at my notes. Got a bunch of notes. So I'm Henry. I'm 27. I'm an insomniac and a bit of an old soul. Something about me, I just finished grad school, which is exciting. And I've been really into manifesting lately.
I'm curious about, Catalina, what chapter in your life are you in right now?
I am currently in a place where I am now very focused on serving.
Let's do a flavor check-in. If your life right now had a flavor, what would it be and why? Henry.
If I had a flavor, if I was a flavor, I think I'd be salsa roja right now, for sure. You know, I just finished grad school. I just turned 27. I feel like I'm finally blended well enough to and like ready to pack a punch, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Amazing. I would say I am definitely well seasoned. Maybe there's a smokiness to the taste because I have been slow simmering for a long time, and I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Well, today's topic is we're going to be exploring the tension between between patient versus passion. We're going to be talking about slowing down versus moving fast. Trust the timing versus pushing forward, right? With two different generations, I am curious, what were your lived experience? I want to start with you, Henry. Can you share an experience or a moment when passion really led the way for you?
I was telling Catalina, I stayed up till 3:41 a.m. like writing and thinking about this because I kind of like lived all my life like this, just really like passion focused, going big or going home. And one thing that sticks out, or an experience that sticks out to a lot of people when I like tell them about myself, back in June 2022, against the behest of the U.S. government and like my family, I went to Russia, you know, after the war started. I was always fascinated by Slavic and Russian culture, art. So I applied for a visa and I received it before the war started. Ever since I was in middle school and high school, I really loved like Dostoevsky. I like Nikolai Leskov and art from Viktor Vasyanetsov and you know, everyone who studies acting knows Stanislavski. And so I just always really wanted to go, and I was like, "Can you swear on this? Is like swearing allowed?" Yeah. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go." Like I had the government telling me, don't do this, like this is a stupid idea. And then I had my parents saying, don't do it.
Mhm.
Like they're going to detain you. And there's something about me too, where it's like, the more people tell me not to do something, the more I want to do it. And I know it's like a very naive, like kind of young mentality where you think you're invincible. But I also think like brilliance is the counterpart to when people tell you what to do. So the more like you listen and follow to what people tell you, the more you don't really get to experience a lot of things. And so, you know, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And so I went to Russia, June 2022. It was hard because of the sanctions. I'm not allowed to use my phone or have service out there. And so I kind of did it old school with just a lot of cash on me and like just figuring it out. And it's just because I was so passionate about going and experiencing the culture and experiencing the history that I had to do it. And like that surprises a lot of people.
Wow.
That is amazing. There's so much there to unpack, and yet it gives us a really good glimpse of who you are.
Yeah.
And I love where you talk about hearing from advice from people. Don't do it.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen, and
Yeah.
all of the fear. And yet somehow you recognize that's their fear.
Yeah.
That's not your fear. And yet you move forward and do something really bold because you were passionate
Yes.
about the idea of going.
Yeah.
That's pretty profound.
Have you ever had experience when you were in his age, that kind of passion?
Wow. When I was his age, so in my 20s, I know that I was also in a place where I was not taking the advice of many, but I don't have a story that I can think of at the moment that would even come close to
Bold and stupid.
I don't know that you were stupid. You did it. I think there was wisdom within your choices and your decisions, and you decided to go before the war.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
From the way you laid it out.
I applied
That
for the
decision
visa.
you were already in motion.
Right.
The action had already started.
Yeah.
I think that the timing didn't necessarily work in your favor, but you have a story that none of us can take away from you.
What about you, Catalina? Tell us an experience in your life that when you moved fast and followed your desire.
I'm not by nature a fast mover.
Okay.
I am very much a steady. I'm the person you come to when you're running fast and you want to have some sort of sound advice. That's who I am. So I can be impromptu. I can definitely make a decision on the spot when one needs to be made, but that is not my go-to nature. Even coming from nonprofit leadership, that switch happened during COVID, where I said, I'm going to be a coach. I always knew that I wanted to. I'd always been focused on poverty and fighting poverty from a child standpoint. That was my work. That was decades worth of work. And during COVID, I was unemployed for about years, year and a half. So I recognized that a lot of what I saw in children who repeat cycles and stuckness when it comes to money, that adults and people have those. So even with that, it may have seemed bold because when I was called to come back to work, I chose not to.
You are passionate about this money coaching.
100%. I am a very strong believer there is enough money for all of us.
100%.
There is enough money to go around. Most of us have not been raised by parents or environments that taught us how to be safe with our money. So I really want to work to get that word out. And so my work as disadvantaged children and youth had been my focus target when I was in the workplace. And now I work with adults who are well educated and professional, high achievers, and I see a lot of the same cycles. And it's not because we don't have enough, it's that we haven't allowed ourselves to believe or to accept that we deserve.
When did you start doing this?
It's been about 4 years because it was during the COVID break.
Henry, how do you see yourself in this experience?
It's very interesting. I was I was a disadvantaged youth. You know, I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. You know, we have a lot of poverty, a lot of crime. My school was shot up. Money has always been an issue, and something that I catch myself is when I'm watching like Reservation Dogs, and they like collect a lot of money together to try to move to California because they're from Oklahoma, and they lose it. They lose all the money, and I like remember I was like, oh, stressed out for them because it's like they lost like thousands of dollars. Like, and I'm like, why am I stressing out? You know, I lived a different life. You know, I was also at one point trying to be a criminal justice major, so I kind of know the disadvantages that I grew up with. It is a lot of like being an immigrant or coming from an immigrant family and not having the same resources. And so it's really cool to see what you're like. I've never heard anyone say that they were passionate in that. And so like I give you the props for like trying to get that word out, because that's amazing.
So for people like Henry, how do you help?
We would start by really examining what he shared about the movie that he was watching. And we would start with the why were you stressed out? And we would dig deeper there. There's so much power in that when we start to question why we think a certain way and why we feel a certain way. Because I can teach people how to budget. There's a system and people have automation and there's all of these things available. But to create lasting wealth, we want to dig deeper. We want to pull out those rotten roots that are not serving you. And then, of course, build in whatever systems may or may not be lacking, and then create some that are of the direction that you desire to go.
I'm curious because, like, in spite of your, struggle and story about the money, you push through with your passion to go to Russia.
Oh yeah, of course, dude. It's like what I was saying earlier about manifesting, because I've been getting really into manifesting lately. I'm from South Central, so I always think like a lot of these things were silly, but it's true. If you really want something and you can visualize in your head the steps you need to take to get there, then you'll do it and you'll accomplish it. So I'm still living in South Central, and I've managed to have like a lot of opportunities. I went on a trip in Italy. I did like all the main things, Rome, Pisa, Florence, Venice, like everything, Pompeii, Naples. If I want to do something, there's no obstacle that can get in my way. You said like you're not a fast mover. That's like interesting to think, because like I've always been a fast like mover, fast thinker. Like there's no obstacle in the I guess in the long run. There's always an obstacle in the short run. Money is a big obstacle, of course, but what I did was I was like, all right, this is how much I need to do it. This is how much I need to get there. And this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna pick up more shifts or work harder, do overtime, and not spend on this or start saving. And that's how I did it.
There's always a way. And I want to even touch on, because you've mentioned it a few times, that you're from South Central and you continue to live in South Central.
Yeah.
And I would challenge you to start thinking about successful people who have come out of South Central. I don't know who they are, but I know they have. To me, you still have opportunities. It's about finding them and removing the obstacles and figuring out ways to come out, I guess, over those, right? Beyond them. And I think you're doing an amazing, amazing job. And I think this is really, really good, because he's very passionate and acts on his passion. And I'm not in a big hurry for my outcomes. But so I think it's a great pairing. Good job, Kirby.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it really is. It's interesting that you say you're patient, and you're patient for those goals that you want to achieve. I don't want to bring it up again, but like growing up where I grew up, like I had, and I like still have friends like that pass away, and there's a lot of death in the family, death in the neighborhood, death in like friends, and it could be gang affiliated, but it could also be a friend that gets hit by a hit and run. So death is always constant. That's a big reason why I wanted to go to Russia too, because it's like I don't know how much time I have always felt like I'm running out of time, like I'm on borrowed time. I don't know how much time I have left, but and I'm also an insomniac, so I know I'm like dying already and faster than everybody else my age. That's why I kind of do live fast, because it's like I don't think I'm gonna be here for very long.
Okay, we want to change that thought. We definitely want to change that thought. But you are wise in that tomorrow isn't promised to anyone, but we live as though it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Your passion to travel is very admirable, because there's so much to learn when you travel.
Yeah.
You know, and I always appreciate people who get to travel and see different culture, different people, because you're like outside your bubble.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here now in the US as well, like, you know, my story. But I also see the benefits of a seasoned passion where it's very intentional. For older people, the passion is towards service. I'm very grateful that I could do that as well. I definitely have both understood and experienced your story. I'm curious, how's your relationship with passion evolved now? Yeah, with you, Catalina.
Passion for me is, I mentioned, I'm very steady, not necessarily always patient, but I'm almost always working towards something. And I think I heard that in his story as well. There's a perseverance between passion and patience.
I like that word.
And that is where you picked up extra shifts and you had a plan and you stuck to the plan and you were patient until you were able to pull it all together and then apply for the visa. So there was patience in your story. I want to make sure to point that out. And so that's kind of where I am. Like I very much, when I see something, I'm all in, but I see that there's steps. I don't always know the how to achieve what it is that I'm after, what that passion is, but I know that it's through action, through the perseverance, through those steps, those learnings, that the how will appear. You tell me your situation and we're going to find a solution, and I'm going to be completely on board with whatever your goal and outcome that you're looking for is. So I do stir up passion and then I act on it more slowly.
Okay. All right. What about you, Henry? How's your relationship passion change?
I've always kind of been a hothead and very easy to like anger. And what's kind of changed from that is like having the patience to kind of fight against that a bit. I'm taking off like the safety nets in a lot of things in terms of how like my passion has changed, because you know I am an actor, I am a director, I am a writer, and it's hard to like be these things and survive off of them. So another like maybe bold and stupid thing that I've done is like, all right, well now I have no choice. Either I have to make it or I don't have money to pay rent. I have to just like start looking for directing jobs, or if it's like I have to submit 15 auditions in a week, and I have to fucking do it because I have to put money on the table. And I have some people tell me like, oh, maybe you should have a backup plan just in case. There's a part of me, again, manifesting and this gut intuition, this gut feeling of I have to fucking do it, and I will fucking do it if I just take the safety jump without having a rope. Like then like there's no other choice. It's either I make the landing or I die.
And that's the perseverance. It really is. It's you being committed to the outcome that you're after. And there's a passion.
Yeah.
Right? And yet there has to be a patience. And you're willing to go the long haul, even when other people might be telling you or are telling you, it sounds like come on, you got to have a backup plan. What's your backup plan? What are you going to do? Right. So to hear all those voices and still say, no, I'm going to stay on track because this is where I'm headed. This is where I'm going. This is my passion. And I will be patient until it arrives.
Gotcha.
So with your both lived experience with passion, you have this wisdom now that you're becoming more intentional, you're becoming more adaptable. Do you see yourself traveling again?
Oh, 100%. Oh, I want to go to Ireland. I'm probably this year just going. You'll see me just going like off on a whim, just because it's like, oh, I have nothing to do. I'm just gonna go. I know that scares a lot of people, and try to get like a bunch of friends to come with me to Italy too. And then like kind of last minute when we're like checking up on people, saying like, are you down to go? It's like, oh, well, I don't have time, or oh, I don't have the funds. And like I totally get that, because I'm on the same boat as them too. But I think a lot of people have like this need to feel safe and be safe. I don't know when they plan on traveling, but it's like maybe when they get older. And so that's why I'm like, I got to do everything now. And so, yeah, I plan on traveling till I die.
There's a beauty about it too, because once you experience one travel, it gives you that perspective. And the same thing with you, Catalina. Once you really see the result of helping people with their money trauma, it's become like a wisdom for you. Like, I've done it. I could do better in the next round. Maybe it's the same passion, but maybe the intensity is a bit more careful.
Well, and I think what you just described is an evaluated experience,
There you go.
right? We look at, okay, so what went well about your travel, about maybe one of my clients? What did I do well? You went through it. I just love that about you. So when you get to be my age or in my age range, you have so many more experiences. Not only my experiences have I learned from over life, but I've learned from other people that I watch. And I've always tended to do that. When I was maybe teenage years, maybe just out of high school, I'm gonna learn from their mistakes.
It's the best teacher.
And,
it
right.
really is,
But
yeah.
evaluating those experiences really does make a difference
Right.
in how I approach things. And I don't think anything you do is stupid or bold.
Well, I think it's a fine line.
So changing that language even to yourself.
Do you see yourself evolving your passion from coaching to traveling? Do you see any passion that you are like thinking about it?
Sure. I have, but Alaska, I definitely want to do an Alaska trip. I do a lot of Mexico travel. My father was from Mexico City, so you talk about being raised by an immigrant. And I also know that. And so my dad was the only one that left the country. So we went back every year growing up. He took us back to Mexico City. And I will hope to continue that forever if I don't move there. And the work I do, I can do anywhere.
I have a question for you. With your experience and then coming from like a similar background, I feel like a lot of the reason that I am what I am is because of like looking at my parents. For example, again, like my mom and dad are immigrants, and they were very, very conservative in terms of like spending money. I did travel a lot to Mexico, same. My mom and my dad sometimes. But it never felt like a vacation, because it's like, oh, we're going to your grandma's house, or we're going to El Pueblo that's in the middle of nowhere, and it's, it's no beaches or whatever. Now it's nice to go as I get older. It's like, oh, country life. So now growing up, I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to spend, $2,000 on Italy, or I'm going to spend $3,000 going to Russia. And I don't give a fuck. Overexpending, you might say, or spending a little too much on trips. Like, what?
I'm not exactly sure what your question is, but I think what your question is.
I don't know my question either.
I'll help you out. I think what you're asking is, it has to do with the amount of money that you're willing to spend when that's not what you grew up saying.
Sure.
Right? And I call overspending, spending more than you want to spend.
Okay.
So you get to decide, right?
Gotcha. Cool.
It's a very different way of thinking, right? Yeah. What is overspending? Well, it's spending more than I meant to.
That's a really beautiful example, because your parents' passion about how to spend the money is
Yeah.
exactly different from your passion,
Mhm.
right? And if you label it from their perspective, then you find guilt and judged and like feeling bad about how you're spending the money.
I do. Yeah.
But this is your passion. You know, when you talk about fashion, it's like that burning desire, right? That
Mhm.
in you to your bones, it is the truth.
Right.
It is meaningful.
Mhm.
It is fulfilling. Like those are all the qualities of passion. And I completely agree and understand your side, because my parents too and my family too, which is very conservative about spending money, right? Because again, it's a different generation.
Yeah.
This timeline, your generation, you have access to this internet, you have exposure that gives you ideas and inspirations like, oh, this is what it looked like there. I really
Yeah.
want to go there. They didn't have that when they were in their generation. They were just like being told stories, and it's not as motivating as you are experiencing right now. So that alone is a completely different perspective in life. But your passion and how you spend the money to traveling is absolutely for you,
Mhm.
for your experience. And you know, if it's $2,000 or $3,000, the worth of experience that you have is priceless. And then you are doing it right, because if not, you would stop it. You know it to your heart
Mhm.
that this is so good for me, and I like getting lost in the city, and
Yeah.
like you can really just expand your horizon. That this is not South LA anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
I think one of the most valuable things that we can give our kids, if we can give our kids those things, is travel.
Mm.
And you grew up with travel, although you maybe
Yeah.
didn't always appreciate
Right. Yeah.
the destination, but it opens our eyes. It's what you're saying. It really adds so much to how we see life.
Mm.
And we grew up going to Mexico City in a time where my grandmother, we had an outhouse in the back.
Mhm.
There was not, the kitchen at one point was still outside.
Outside. Yeah. I
Right?
still have that. Yeah.
And they eventually moved it in, and indoor plumbing came and those kind of things over my lifetime. But when we were young, we washed clothes on her
Yeah.
stone.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called.
It's like, it's funny because it's like a stone sink.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I don't even know what it's called, but that's how, and we would go for weeks. So this is what we were doing. And yet we loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
And we got to see that not everybody lives like we do,
Mhm.
and yet they're fine.
Yeah.
And there's so many lessons when we travel, and when we are able to share that with our children, then their eyes are opened, the possibility. And you reminded me, as you were talking, of my father I think he was in his 80s or near 80, and he decided that he was going to go to China. And what he said was that he chose China because he saw something on TV and it looked like something he had never seen. And he went to China. The man speaks English and Spanish.
Yeah.
And he went to China by himself.
Mm.
And my brother ended up
Mm.
going because they were worried about it.
Yeah.
And he ended up finishing off the
Yeah.
trip with them. And they had a great time and did all kinds of crazy things. My dad was very adventurous. I never thought that his bold actions were, some of them maybe were,
Yeah.
but
But that's really it. When you have that passion to do an activity or to do something, you are so laser sharp focused on getting
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
And there are more yeses than nos. The passion to travel is also a form of identity. I know so many people that never get out their own state.
Sure. Serving disadvantaged children and youth, I met many children. One of the things I used to do was summer camp. I worked for LA Times, and kids that have never left Southern California, never been to the beach, never been to the mountain. And for them to go and spend 1 week at camp with other kids that don't know that they're there on some sort of sponsorship or scholarship, And they get to live just like those other kids for a week in freedom and eat all the food they want to eat and just have that experience really is able to give them a hope for that sort of future.
Now let's switch gear. Let's talk about the patients. Tell us an experience, Henry, where when life asks you to practice patience.
Patience is probably one of my biggest flaws when it comes to patience is when you deal with people that you love, because I think something that I've learned as I've gotten older might be like, whoa, that was obvious, Henry. You should have learned that a lot sooner. Is that like what people feel is what they feel. There is no like scientific way you can manipulate that and say, oh, that's wrong and your feelings are invalid because of whatever. Where patience has become important to me, or where I'm like trying to practice it best, is when I have to like just really understand what a loved one is feeling. It's frustrating because I want to like quickly say my perspective and say that's not how it happened or that's wrong. It's having the patience to be okay. I want to understand how you felt. Oh, I see it now. From your perspective, it can feel like that was meant to hurt you, and that's where I think it's the most important. You should spend the most time and patience on what you love.
That is really, really hard when you want more for somebody than they want for themselves. And you can clearly see that what's happening right now may not be the best long-term decision that someone is making, and you have no say, although you want to, right? And when we do jump in, we become the outcast. We become the one that's attacking them. I think many families struggle with that.
Oh man, you just brought up like flashbacks. Like I definitely grew up on like tough love. I really didn't have like my family. Like I still don't. Now it's kind of weird where like someone was like, just try it. Just try to say I love you to your mom. You know? And I like went to my mom. I gave her a hug and I was like, I love you. And she said, what's wrong with you? You know, she pushed me away. She's like, what's wrong with you? And so like I for like growing up, it was very easy to like whenever you felt bad for like beating up my little brother or getting in a fight with my little brother, it was very easy to just feel like stop, like I'm sorry, like just like it's fine, whatever. And that's kind of like how I kind of want to like solve things now. And it's like, dude, you're not helping the situation, you know? And so it's really hard, especially for me, like to kind of deconstruct what I have been doing for like my entire life, or even the way I grew up.
I've experienced this myself. I have lost 10-15 years of my life with my relationship with my parent. You think it's their responsibility to provide, it's their responsibility to give whatever you want, and you're forced to get adult quickly. And there's that tension that, from my experience, from my peers, from culture, that they're doing very well. Why am I not doing well? Right? So patience in terms of really trying to understand your family situation or your dynamics with your family, it's hard. It is hard. The requirements in being patient is to be compassionate. And compassionate for me, I learned that one just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that does not come handy, but I'm super impressed with you, Henry, as your age right now. When I was in your age, I'd never think like that. You know? No, because my generation was so to-do list. Get a degree, get a job, do this, do that, do this, do that. I don't have social media. I don't have a possibility or something like I could see like, oh, this is possible for me. Like on the internet, like I said, oh, I can be like this. No, it was what you see from the newspaper or your television. That's your like inspiration, I guess. But sometimes it's very hard to get that shiny stuff when you're young. Patience when you're younger is really hard. Yeah. It's just part of the experience. And you use the word frustration. Yeah. hurt. These are all common. Can you relate to this?
100%. 100%. Yeah, I didn't grow up, I would not say, in a healthy home. And so we didn't have in the home a great example of, oh my gosh, I want to be just like. And it was more like, yeah, I don't.
I'm not gonna
yeah.
be like that. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah.
So yes, it is. And family is very, very hard. It's the people that we think are supposed to support us and believe in us. And many times that's not the case.
Is that where you are right now? Your relationship? Do you have an experience at this recent timeline? When life asks you to practice patience.
My mom and dad are both gone.
Okay.
So I don't have that. So our family is not really as united, I would say, as we were. And we do not work well together. I promise you, do not work well together. There's 5 different visions on the table, and it requires patience.
Wow. How are you handling it?
I continue to show up with the structure and the plan and the follow through. And I am not really concerned about what they say about me. And I just work through it from that place. And then other people ask me, well, when are you going to just call it quits? Because I can. And I'm not there yet.
When you think about patient, it really requires non-reactivity.
Yeah.
Is that something
That's
that you
so
feel like
fucking
you
hard.
have changed?
Yes and no. Especially when it comes to, like, for example, just like actors or acting. People in that field are very like extroverted and like, hi, good morning. And and I'm just like, oh my God, it's 7 a.m. Like, just leave me alone, please. And it's like almost a product of where I grew up and the way I was raised.
What about you, Catalina?
I think I'm a lot more patient than I used to be. And I don't know if as I get older, maybe they're just not as important to me. And he talks about emotion. I don't get caught up in other people's emotion. Now I want to look at the facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the difference. And this is the beauty of having friends who are older than you, because you don't have to, like, you have a roadmap. You can skip steps.
Yeah.
They will tell you the wisdom.
Oh yeah, for
Right.
sure.
And as I get older as well, I have found out that I get so many unnecessary emotions because I care too much other people, right? And you will come across in your life that reactivity that you're doing is causing your health.
Yes.
So these are all, again, like lived experience that you have to navigate and evaluate. The culture is designed to react.
Yeah.
We thought that answering back, we thought that fixing things, we thought that doing things is love. And the best thing, to be honest, is let them.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that you could really take care is yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that does not come like overnight. Patient, it really differs from patient from the relationship, patient for work, patient for your dreams in life. It is a practice. It is a skills that it takes years to master.
Yeah.
I think the seed typically gets planted ahead of time. You're already talking about Ireland,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? The seed gets planted you with this podcast. It's amazing. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it wasn't overnight.
No.
Right? And I think most things in life work that way. There's somehow a sprinkling and then it evolves naturally over whatever time frame that is. When we're acting on it, there are those other, you mentioned people that you have wanted to travel with you.
Yeah.
You invite them, they say yes, and then they're actually no's.
Right.
Right? They were no's all along.
Yeah.
It wasn't their dream. It wasn't, they they're not ready. They have all the reasons in their mind. They're not taking action.
Mhm.
And yet the seed has been planted.
And every experience that you going through is happening for you for a reason. And even those no's that I've also experienced in my life, again, now reflecting on it, I realized like, I learned so much because the next time I approach, I have a better way of approaching because that approach didn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for sharing your insights about this topic. This time around, let's do a rapid fire question.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start with you, Catalina. Patience or passion, which has been harder to learn?
Wow. Patience.
Okay.
I don't think passion is a learned trait. I think it's born inside of us.
Mm.
I that's my answer.
Perfect.
Patience. Yeah. 100% patience.
Great. A moment when slowing down changed everything.
COVID.
But kind of a sad topic, but like when there's a death in the family or death in friends or a loved one, like that's really when like I start like really appreciating life.
Mm.
A moment when following passion paid off.
For me, it's every like job or gig in doing what I love.
One thing you wish you understood earlier about timing.
How key timing is, because we can do things ahead of time and they don't quite work out, or we can miss the timing window.
Yep. For me, what I learned about time, or wish I would have learned about time sooner, is there is no past, there is no future, there's only now. And you need to die before you die to realize there is no death.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about how do we integrate this to our life. So, what is one gentle insight or perspective that helped you?
Because I think waiting for your opportunity, that type of patience, in my opinion, it sounds passive. I don't think that we can just wait for something to happen. I think it's through our actions. What is the one thing you can do today that would guide you and lead you towards that area that you are working towards?
And what about if someone pushing forward? What helped you?
Taking wise action, making sure that your actions have a result. And I think staying focused on that outcome step by step is going to get you where you're trying.
Something one of my mentors and good friend, Albert Diane, once told me is it's okay to wait. It's okay to be patient, but you need to make sure that when that door opens, that you're ready for it and that you run right in. You hit the ground running.
What about someone struggling when they're pushing forward?
At least for me, you got to really tell yourself to do it and you got to be disciplined. But in order to get there, you got to, again, back to manifesting. It's like you got to see where you want to be and you got to see the steps to get there.
And using Catalina's wisdom is really understanding your intentions, being clear about it, right? So, like my podcast, I sidelined this creative side of me for 20 years. And it is not an overnight thing. It's a year of journaling. I have so many insecurities. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be in front of the camera because I've always been behind the scene. I was the creative director. I was the producer. I have so many worries about, it's not going to get views, likes. Because again, that was the world that I was like,
who cares?
Yeah, that was the world that I was living in when I was doing this 20 years ago, which was, it's very transactional. So that was like all the things that I have to unload. As you get older, your passion is going to transform into in service.
Yeah.
Not for yourself, but for others, for helping others. And the patient side for me is that I I was just being patient when once I clear my passions, when I really hit that journaling that feels to the bone where I'm doing it, I started to just like step one. This duality of patience and passion is an everyday struggle for everybody, right? And then that's why we are here to share our stories in order for other people to see, oh, I'm the same with this person, right? So I really want to thank you both because like your story here, it goes to millions of people and like, oh my god, I finally found someone I can understand with because I feel that same way. What part of you today feels honored by sharing your story, Catalina?
I think anytime we get to be authentic and share our stories and sees life differently, see some place where they can ignite their passion or slow down and be patient. So I am definitely honored that my story may possibly
Mm.
impact somebody I'll never meet.
It's hard for me. Like I'm always hard on myself, and I like that's something my friends tell me. You're too hard on yourself. I'm not trying to like take this for granted, but like I don't really feel like I did anything honorable. You know, just kind of if any way, shape, or form this helps somebody anyway, then all of then all of myself will feel like a little happy that I was able to help someone.
Mm.
And please reach out if you need help. I do nothing. I have no friends.
No, representation is important. Representation is important. There will be a South LA boy there watching this and like, oh yeah, now finally I'm like him.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. I should feel honored, and I could be that for somebody, and hopefully I can, or I can be some asshole on the internet.
Guys,
That seems more likely.
well, thank you so much. Thank you both for your presence and honesty today. Oh, what a very fun conversation. My hope for the listeners, to be honest, is they will give permission to trust their patience and their passion and not to just choose ones.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I think
sure.
that's
Yes.
very important because that's what we call part of being human being.
Yeah, the
Going
duality
through-
of man. Yeah,
Going through the experience.
Yes, and I think it just us at this table. You see, other people's lives are not that different than ours.
Mhm.
They're really not.
Exactly. And again, we are all figuring it out. All right. Some people just have more stories to tell. Right.
Yes.
So that's why I created Kirbylicious because I always say we have to savor one story at a time.
Yes.
So thank you both for your time. I wish you well.
Thank you.
likewise.
I wish you well.
Yeah.
I wish this podcast well.
Thank you. Thank you.